Hello, and welcome to Steel Division 2, today on Hiroshige, I think. And welcome to attempt number 3, I believe this is, at recording this game between Gonzo and Shkodder. Shkodder in First Lovas, Gonzo in Task Force Butler. Yeah, I had lots of issues with my sound. Hopefully the game sound is working now. I have sorted it out, but the next video actually won't have sound again. Same with the video that you likely saw yesterday. It just has been a rough recording session, I can tell you that much. And the only sage wisdom I can give for that is don't use Linux as a working distro if you are using a very unstable version of it. Anyway, so Gonzo versus Shkodder here today on Hiroshige. Quad engineers, M4A1 coming down to this forest here. M4A1 into command M4, and then 3 rifles light engineers and a rifles leader. M8, GMC, and 3 more rifles light. Up top, 2 HMGs. That is just the M1919s, the rifles light, and the 57mm. Well, for Shkodder, we've got 2 flamers, a 40mm, 2 Hussar shocks, the leader, and 38M Toldi. We've got a recon, another flamer, a Panzerschreck, 1 more flamer, 2 Schwarzloses, 40M, once more, leader, and then 4 of these Hussars. 2 Turan tours as well, and then down south, going for a single flamer. 2 MGs in these buildings, 1 more here, and then 3 Hussars, one of them being the Goya-Shock version, coming into this area here. Totally as well. So, let's speed this up to a reasonable speed, and let's enjoy this game. M8 not getting any kills, and actually it should be in a good position to do so, but it actually moves off of the road as the Hussars here take too long to actually get anywhere to where they're going. That's definitely the funny thing about slow transports. You can't be sniped if you're so far back that the unit has already moved on to doing something else by the time you get there. Another AA piece coming out, so dual AA piece start from Gonzo here, as owner does secure an early 2 flags here. Just a flamer, multiple engineers coming to clear that out. M8 as well. Starting fire on the Hussar here. 2 very interesting divisions. Let's talk about those a little bit. The off-map planes on First Lovas mixed in with the combined arms warfare in these very, very powerful 16-man squads here can lead to some very deadly combined arms, but their weakness really is medium tanks. T-34s, at least the 1943 variant, are still dealable with because they only have the 70mm of armor. But a Sherman, even with the heat round, it is like a 50% penetration chance on a Sherman at, well, any range, because it is a heat shell and doesn't lose penetration. Shkodder has turned off the AP shell here. He does intend to fight these M4A1s as the M4A1 down south also manages to snipe a kill here. Nimrod coming out for Shkodder, as the engineers face off against the Hussaraks here. Forced to fall back. Grenade does go off though, killing off quite a few men. And grenade here finishing off the flamer as well. The 2 engineers managing to double team it quite nicely. Command M1 giving good covering fire here, but the Hussars moving forward and actually catch the engineers out in the open as they're falling back there. Not what you want to see. Cavalry scouts moving in. M4A1 doing good damage on this Hussar, as I believe the M8 went down to a Turan here. The B-26G Marauder, this is the one with the like quad 500 kilogram bombs. This thing is deadly when it hits. It has quite a large spread though, and you see there it hits the first unit, manages to chunk it down quite a bit, but pins down his own unit in the process. And despite having those big bombs, they don't quite hit anything too important. Another M4A1 here, facing off against the Turan. First miss. These are 0 vets, so they do only have 40% accuracy. Another miss. And the Turing goes down. The veterancy really coming into handy there for Gonzo. Engineers managed to surrender the Hussar there that got shot at by the... or that got bombed, and is now advancing towards these Hussar rocks. If the engineers can't get their TNT off, though, well, looks like they're losing their suppression quite quick without having met the opponent, so no worries there anymore. But this Panzer Strike definitely could have been used at the start to deal with this Sherman, and this push would have gone a lot better. GMC coming in, or GMC firing at the Ju-88, rather said, as we do get the first off-map plane. And now this map is just off-map hell. It's such a big off-map target, and if well followed up on, there's really nothing you can do about it, right? You gotta contest the multitude of flags here, 3 for each player in the town, and they're so clumped up that naturally all your units are going to clumped up, and it's a city fight. So off-map being most effective against clumped up units, especially 210 off-map like this, the large off-map, certainly very much going to come down hard as the M4A1 attempts to surrender. The Hussar here does fall back just in time. And it's getting good cover and fire on some of these units here, but the off-map comes down. And Gonzo with his micro, just retreat everything and go right away. M4 still charging forward, trying to get that surrender. Doesn't look like it will. Oh, does actually do it. Well, I'll eat my words there. And now there's just a lone Panzer Strike waiting around here. Engineers look like they're going to come to intercept, but Gonzo is going to micro that back now that its job is done. Off map, not having done a ton of damage, but definitely forced things back. These are kind of things you need to follow up on, right? Off maps, it's amazing even at high level how many off maps are not used to follow up. They're used as like direct damage dealers. And yeah, with the 210mm off map, it's definitely something that you can do, but I almost wouldn't recommend it. As if you are just blasting your opponent, especially at these higher levels with an off map, sure you do damage, and if you kill tanks, well, whoop-de-doo, the off map has paid itself off. If you don't manage to follow it up, you're just spending a lot of points on immediate fire and forget kind of attitude, right? If you don't follow up your off maps, you're not gaining ground for the investment of points. You're just killing units, and really what you want to do in a lot of games is it's all about the efficiency traits. And that's why artillery can be so devastating, because if you manage to get a critical mass of artillery, that will provide you value throughout the entire game, even if it's not necessarily in killing units, but rather in suppression and pinning down units, and so you can take ground. But if you're just using it to kill units, sure, you're taking out potentially important targets, but you're really not getting that much value for it. There's a bit of value in it, I suppose. Multiple Turans here are coming in to face off against these triple Shermans, almost going to be quad Shermans down here. And it's 4 for 4, but the Shermans are 80 points, so you can definitely see that this critical mass, and despite the off-map even, these Shermans, that was another one, bounces here. Does get the hit on the Turan. Another shot goes out, misses the second round. I don't think they're even engaging each other anymore. Yeah. Moves forward just a little bit. Shkodder is trying his best to double team these Shermans. As this Turan does get a hit, but the one here goes down and the one here gets penetrated. As now, one Sherman does go down here, but this fight here definitely not going too well for Shkodder as another M4A1 comes in. He does lose most of his units here. Well, Gonzo only loses 2 tanks. Technically, this was an efficient trade, but like Gonzo has 2 more M4s coming in right away, right? The income of Maverick is just to that level. 41mm mortar going to be firing at this 75mm that took out this what was that? That was an M8 here, so snipe that, and now Gonzo's seen it and is gonna artillery it. Another mortar coming into the center here. Gotta do some good work, I would say. As the commander comes in, giving not only the 2-star veterancy to this 37mm, but also to all the tanks. Right, that's the most important thing. Even the infantry, to a point, is 3-star around here. Whenever there's a command vehicle, bit of an overlap in command units here, but nothing to be too worried about. As it is a 13, 11, 4. Well, Mark, I'll rue my words. As it's back to 12 to 12. Rifles and cavalry scouts coming in. As we see the off-map plane coming in again for another shot at it. The MGs do open up, but there's a 105mm howitzer there with the Sherman to just blast that, really. Oh, it does jump out. Doesn't get the off-map off. It is just gonna fall back there. Unfortunate. More cavalry scouts coming in. Gonzo has slowly been building up his forces here. He could very well push down south. But as it is, seems to be content with just trading in the middle as we enter into Phase B, and the very delicious Maverick income starts to come into play. Multiple Tyrans coming in. Rifles late, jumping into the church as the Toldy goes down to the M4A1. Gotta be careful with this M4A1. This 40mm, they do have the heat shells, and which makes them kind of like a little pumpkin. But this cavalry scouts actually can't see the Tyran. Shkodder spots the cavalry scouts though. The 40M not getting its shot on target, and the Tyran is going to back off there. Another rifles leader coming in to provide veterancy to this side of the town. Mortar still firing away, trying to get the kill on this retreating AT gun. Dual Tyrans now. Sherman getting another kill there. Oop. And now we see another M4 dueling a Tyran. I do expect the Tyrans to win it, but look, they miss. They're not up-vetted, they're not near a leader. One does get a penetration, but it is going to get penetrated itself. And with the set bounce on the second shot, it does go down, and they're not an efficient trade there, especially since this M1 has likely already killed things. The M4 here also kills this one. This one took penetration earlier while it was fighting Shermans. Rifles like kind of finish off the Schwarzlose, and now we see the really the pitfall of Task Force Butler come in, where they're everything after Phase A, so B phase and C phase infantry, is Maquisards and the FFI. Oh, I can't remember quite what they're called, but I'm sure we'll see them in this game. They've got an MG, German MG-34 or something like that. Generally considered a weak squad, 20-point squad kind of a situation. M4A1 moving forward. Cavalry Scout's actually not moving into the building as the Nimrod takes aim. Does kill the M4A1, and now the Nimrod. Very dangerous device here. It looks like it didn't even shoot its HE shells, but that would be interesting if the AP shells penetrated. I guess they fire in bursts of 4, so it didn't use enough ammo? That would have been very weird. I'm not sure if the game works like that. But ton of Maquisards coming in. Mortar out of ammo. I suspect we'll see a GMC supply here as the FFI rally is also coming. A lot of Maquisards. Schwarzlose over here as well as a Flamer. With the 105mm though, as long as that repositions, that'll get to delete that MG fairly quickly. Cavalry Scouts though moving forward might get spotted by the Husserrock here as the Schwarzlose shuts down this little Maquisard push, which was likely not intended to come over here, but over here it does get. Schwarzlose now no longer firing, So this Machizar is going to continue on its doomed journey as these FFIs just pour in here. One does go down, the second one goes down. Sloppy from Gonzo here. But Molotov Cocktail going out, triple stand firing. These are not terrible units at close range, but they're really no replacement for line infantry, particularly in town fight like this. We see another off-map coming down, and it's actually a dual firing off-map. These two 105 millimeters, right, are some very, very, like, they're relatively weak, so if you use them together, you just get more bang for your buck. So it is a good idea to do this, but because sometimes it won't kill tanks or it won't kill units, so or it won't even fully suppress units. So if you are planning on following up your push, which does not seem to be the case, as there is nothing to follow it up with besides just an infantry foot push, as more Turans go down, I believe to the Pack 40 that was over here, and then also the things we see. Yeah, like this is an off-map strike to be commended, I suppose. It does force back Gonzo to micro everything back, as we see the first M4 A1 76mm. And now, an interesting thing here is that Shkodder has brought in these Jagdpanzer 38Ts as Hetzers in Phase B, as the M4 here, or the M4s, completely decimate these Turans. And the Jagdpanzer 38T is almost the perfect counter to a Sherman, right? The Sherman can't penetrate it, but it can penetrate it at the Sherman no problem. The Sherman does have quite a hard time penetrating it, but it's not even that much more expensive, right? Ooh, Pack 40 though does have line of sight from the looks of things, as the Jagdpanzer is forced to move back. We also see the first M4A1 76 here brought in at 2-star from the looks of things. I don't think that rifles leader is quite close enough to it to be providing veterancy right now, judging from the state of veterancy around the surrounding units. And well, I just talked about, and the Machizar went down here that was rushing forward. I just talked about the Jagdpanzer 38T being a perfect counter to the Sherman. The M476 is a perfect counter to the Jagdpanzer 38T, because in a town fight like this, you have to get close. So under 1,000 meters, these 76mm Shermans will do a lot of work. Forced to move back because of the dual off-map, though, was M4 is showing how easily M4s go down to Jagdpanzers. Another Marauder strike here. Does manage to pin down all these infantry. Cavalry scouts did not find the 40M. Disappointing there, as these engineers run forward and straight into machine gun fire. Bunch more infantry, though. It's surprising to see that Gonzo hasn't brought in some kind of counter off-map as Shkodder attempts his first assault up north here. One more double charge of off-map here in the center. A lot of units here that can be very dangerous to take out. There's 4 Turans, but at this range, well, they're just pummeling the units in the center here. M4 goes down to the Pack 40, leaving these infantries very much not supported, as the M4A1 comes in. Once again, 76mm Shermans, if they use within the 1,000-meter range, they can kill pretty much any Axis tank, minus a Panther, right? And they do kind of struggle against Tigers too, but Tigers don't have the rate of fire to really deal with them. So 750-meter range, I would say, is the special spot there for the Tiger, to where the M4 will win quite handily. As another Sherman dueling with Turans again. M4, of course, no problem. Cutting these down. One's already gone down. Ooh, it does go down, though. We see the heat shell not losing penetration over this. It's actually being useful there. Mortar firing at the Jagdpanzer, or where the Jagdpanzer was, no doubt. As the M4 starts taking it first shot. Very, very cool-looking unit, if I do say so myself. This is a beautiful looking game at times. Too bad that a lot of the time you're never going to be zooming in. It is an RTS after all. JU-88 coming in. The push in the north is being warded off for now, but there is just a couple of Machizars here. One more rifle's late, but the Hungarian infantry really has an advantage. Ju-88 maybe flying too close to the sun is warded off by all these GMCs, especially the 2-star one on the FFI 25mm. And yeah, we see like these FM machine guns are just trash in my opinion. Like they don't do any damage at the long range. So while they're useful as like an automatic rifle for firing in forests and stuff like that to just boost up the DPS a little bit, they're not useful for anything else really. And like sure, the Carabiner 98Ks can provide a little bit of additional damage there. It's just not an amazing combination. The only thing that makes these units worth taking in the first place is the fact that they have a Molotov, so they can pay themselves off in forests quite easily, despite their relatively lackluster DPS. Toldi firing. Tanks up north as well. M38s. There's really nothing here to deal with these, so can the Toldis overrun this position before the M4 arrives? Definitely something to think about as I hear another Marauder coming in. Just gonna absolutely decimate that position. I don't even think these Maquisards got into the green cover. Gotta preemptively fall back there to take less damage, but it looks like almost they're gonna run into the bombing strike as 3 500-kilogram bombs in a row. Kaboom. The AA went down here for Shkodder, the Nimrod, so he's bringing in another one. Yeah, we saw it take a hit earlier, so that's definitely a new one. Yakban's 38T still healthy, still warding off Shermans. But there are, again, more Shermans to come as we do enter into Phase C. Now, this is quite a long game, so I hope you'll forgive me for setting it to Speed 2. But, yeah. As you can probably guess, my patience is a little thin after doing this multiple times. Toldis now. They do basically manage to overrun this position. Ju-80 also comes in now that there's no AA. The Sherman 76 chases down the Hussar here, but the Toldi manages to clean up the AA, and now the infantry can push forward, and this whole flank here collapses. Because of how well Gonzo's doing in the town, though. It is still a 12-12, though. Gonzo has lost this flag here that was just being held by a Maquisard. Infantry 1 getting shot at by Yak Panzers, not what you want to see, does take a hit. So it's got to get out of there. Mortar firing off again. Such a chore to keep those supplied sometimes, but you gotta do it. And there we see the Maquisard actually being useful, finally getting a kill on something. Marauder coming in again. No AA over here for Shkodder as the M4 gets the kill on the Toldi. There's a Panzerschreck over here to be aware of, so you can't just blindly rush tanks into the field. As, yeah, this far into Phase C, which isn't very far right now, it is actually quite even for the time being. And look, like, a 1 health Hussar managed to basically kill a Maquisard from full health. It's quite ridiculous. Multiple FFIs going down though to the straight pull rifles, and this is actually going to get suppressed before it goes down. It does go down finally, but there we just see the power of the Hussars. Gonzo has managed to push onto this flag, but the Pack 40 does get a kill here. M476 moving forward though. Ju-88 Recon also looking at things. More Maquisards coming in. And more Maquisards are fodder for the meat grinder. As it's actually 14-10 for Shkodder now as he temporarily takes these 2 flags in the center back. As well as this push in the north completely being overrun. The Maquisard is really not holding up to snuff, and there's now a Pack 40 here. So the M476 has to be very careful. Without, like, support, as in MGs or Shermans and stuff like that, light tanks and medium tanks, The Mechizards are really not that great at being a frontline infantry. You're kind of forced to use them because you don't get many of these FFI rallies, but these FFI rallies are almost not better, right? They got a PPSH and an MG34 and then 6 Carabinas, so they're only an 8-man squad. So these aren't very good as frontline infantry either because they've got no health, even with the MG42. Alright. You really got to support your units, and I just think Gonzo right now is another unit gets sniped there, likely by this 38T. That Butler needs a lot more combined arms forces than what we're seeing. Nimrod not able to force the P-47 off, but the Ju-88 does go down from Shkodder's side. See, you really need Shermans to provide covering fire for this kind of stuff, as the Hussars close in around the last Maquisard over here. And just goes down super quickly. Another Ju-88 veering off. This Gonzo does temporarily get control back into the center, and when you get deep into C phase with Maverick divisions, it's usually a good idea to kind of change your like mindset away from needing to push and needing to gain flags, but rather just to trade efficiently, because even just trading well is really the way forward with dealing with these kind of engagements, right? Because if you trade well in the latter phase when your enemy has no more reinforcements left, you can also often overwhelm them. And quite honestly, like, as we see the more Maquisards and actually FFI saboteurs also rushing in, really, what are these saboteurs supposed to do, right? If they're not in green cover, they're kind of useless. More Maquisards coming in, and the Hungarian infantry is just going to enable Shkodder to trade so well. As actually another Sherman goes down here. Gonzo's micro, of course, impeccable. He is taking down Shkodder slowly but surely. But really, Shkodder seems to have quite the reign on this. GMC now moving forward, actually gonna shoot at the Hussar as well, and very close to running out of ammo as the GMC supply here actually has to come by and supply the GMC that was here since the beginning. M476 does get the kill in the Yakpansa, so good kill there. Does secure this flag back for Gonzo, giving him the 13-11, as this flag also goes back in his hands. Ju-88 coming in. There's a 25 mil, not going to prevent anything. These are the low bomb load Ju-88, so barely does any damage even to a Maquisard. Stressed out enough by the 25 mil, which are also very good AA pieces, to fall back. Turan gets a kill on the 2-star GMC here. That's not good. Does make it a little bit easier for the Air Force of Shkodder to make a play. But 14-10 still. Still got the hero M4A1 up here that's done so much work. And this one as well. Gonzo are really putting these 76 mil Shermans to the perfect counter measure, right? If the Yakpansas counter the Shermans, then the Sherman 76 counter the Yakpansas, and that's how you deal with it. Tiran, though, surrendering whatever was here, come out as Afrik coming in, but gonna go down to the Hussar as the Sherman looks like he wants it to chase the Tiran, but doesn't quite get there. Does get the surrender on the rifles late, or not the surrender, the surround on the rifles late. So putting it back at a 12-12, and it's very evened up. But Gonzo is now the one losing tickets. This flag going down, this flag going down. Yeah. It's a fairly even game, I would say, yeah. Really, though, we saw so much off-map from Shkodder. The question I have would be, where's the off-map from Gonzo? Because there's an excellent 2 or 3mm off-map, and there's really no excuse not to take it on the off-map map. As Commandos Afrik unload Well, it looks like they unloaded onto a Hetzer there. And but they both get pinned down because there's not much to support them. Saboteurs and Nakizars moving forward are going to force them back, but this flag is very hard to push for. Sherman does get the thing. It's back in the favor of Shkodder now. And they finally got to meet. Shkodder is still moving it, but a shot goes off for Gonzo. And they're just... oh man, playing Ring Around the Rosie. Gets the surround again. Sherman kind of backs off here. Gets the second shot, and it goes down. More Mechizars coming in. 76 mil Sherman as well. P-47. Nimrod's still there though, so and it's moved forward now and is not hidden behind a building, so it's got plenty of line of sight as this Pak-40 kills the M4A1. Tanks forced to fall back as the Mechizars down here has gone down once again. Pak-40 also showing up. Bomber not quite dropping its load. And Gonzo is now ticked down a considerable amount. Still enough that if you were to turn it around in the next couple of minutes, he definitely could, but these Mechizars has just traded so badly that what are you supposed to do? And now, despite being only a 8mm machine gun here, Shkodder's got to pick up another flag just by sheer will of parking this vehicle behind. Looks like the surround isn't quite completed there this time, but does just need to park on the flag to secure it for the time being. Odd flip-flop as well. Focke-Wulf coming in to kill that rifle's light. 25mm is firing. Almost out of ammo though. Does kill it. And 40M back here still hiding around. Looks like the Mechizars have spotted it, but look how long it takes to fucking do a single point of damage to that 40M. Very bad. More firing here. Very good use of the mortar throughout the game. M476, of course. There's just so much infantry here for Shkodder that at this stage of the game, Gonzo really needs to make something happen, pull back some kind of a victory, but you need to almost run these tanks then into the middle of a Hussars, and it's not really working. You would need, well, for example, an offmap to really pin down these squads so your Mechizars can even be like somewhat offensive, right? They're in the open, they're going to go down even quicker than if they were in buildings. And the tanks are pulling overtime duty, right? They've also got to deal with all the small support tanks from the Hungarians, which the Hungarians do very well as well. As we see FFI Saboteurs out in the open. Gonzo perhaps running a little low. M476 though. Gets a shot on the Turan. And actually shows its side. Oop, gotta be careful there. It doesn't quite see the Turan. Just keeps moving. Team C now moving forward. Maybe to try and help with some of this. As Gonzo realizes he really needs to push. Perhaps even a bit too late. Does get the 13 to 11 again, but with only 5 minutes left on the clock, he's got to tick the opponent to at least 10. Gonzo himself was ticking for, I think, 8 or so from the time that they were equalized. Pak-40 shots on the Sermon. It does go down. And now, Gonzo's once mighty tank force is now looking rather bleak. 105 Sherman, as the Sherman 76 went down here as well. Unfortunate. Marauder coming in again. Trying to get hits on that Turan. Does kill it. M10 coming in. 11 to 13. Shkodder really just needs to dump a unit on a house somewhere and on a flag, and that'll be the win for him. As this M4 has almost run out of HE shells and definitely has run out of 50 cal ammunition. Playing Ring Around the Rosie again, 12-12 for even longer. Another M476 coming in to provide that cover and fire, but the Hussar's now shooting at the supply truck and getting the kill. Pack 40 doing its best to shoot at the 105, but the 105 is a howitzer tank. Does get good shots on target. M10, not the best HE thrower. Shooter kill, but the M4-105 does take it out, particularly with that 50 cal, doing great suppressive fire. 13-11 again, with 2 minutes left on the clock here. I don't think that Shkodder, or I mean, I don't think Gonzo is going to be able to pull this back here. So, very, very good game here for the first game between Gonzo and Shkodder in our little Steel Division League here. FFI Saboteurs coming in as well. Even with the M10 taking out some of these Tyrans, there's faintly little that Gonzo can do at this point. He would need a complete breakdown of the enemy forces, and he does surrender. 4,450 kills to 3,890. And so, can you out-micro off-map? Well, besides retreating the second that it comes down, so you take as little losses as possible, it's really hard to do so. And the efficiency of these M476s, though, is absolutely beautiful to see. Watching Gonzo micro is an art, and really half of the players in Division 1 just have impeccable micro. It astounds me every single time. So yeah, good kills on Gonzo's side, but in the end, it was the infantry efficiency, not the tank efficiency, that mattered. Which kind of like follows the line that we're in a bit of an infantry meta here, but yeah, Tyrants usually pay themselves off if they kill anything, but a lot weren't. But on the other side, Hussars, right? A single Hussar taking out a Maquisard and a Rifles. Maquisard here, Cavalry Scouts there, right? Rifles late. Half of these infantry squads traded really, really well, and that's really what happened in the end there. Gonzo had no line infantry capable of taking and holding ground. It was just throw Maquisards into the fray, throw rallies into the fray, and hope they do better against Hussarok and Hussarok MG42s, many of which were 2-star infantry, which just take so much less suppression than the unvetted Maquisards of Gonzo. Yeah, like a single Hussarok here. And these aren't even the ones with the 3MG, which are quite powerful. Just a lot of kills. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Sound's back, but tomorrow, no sound for tomorrow's video. So unfortunately, you don't need to comment about it, but I am aware of the problem and I have fixed it. So yeah, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.